Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Identity Security Unleashed for the AI Era. Over the last few weeks, we have been sharing various aspects of the Akeyless platform that is built to address the emerging threats and challenges associated with the rise of machines and AI agents. Today, we are going to spend time introducing you to managing the entire life cycle of certificates with the Akeyless platform. Just as a reminder, Akeyless platform has three core capabilities. It's a machine identity security platform that includes secrets, PKI and certificate automation, workload identity federation, and multi-vault governance. We have AI agent security capabilities, which we announced as a part of the first episode of this series. Please do watch that keynote. And of course, we also have human identity security capabilities, where we introduced you to modern PAM, the generation 3 of PAM. In today's presentation, we're going to focus on what you see highlighted on the slide. It's PKI and certificate automation. So let's jump into why we need a modern approach to managing certificates. The first challenge is volume and visibility. It's a numbers game. With the explosion of AI agents and machines, most teams are effectively flying blind. You simply can't manage the sheer volume of certificates manually anymore. It's impossible to keep up. The lack of visibility leads directly to risk. When your engineers are stuck doing manual updates, human error is inevitable. That means expired certificates, sudden shutdowns, a nightmare for governance and compliance. The third is cost. The traditional tools built to solve this are often heavy, expensive, incredibly complex to deploy, and they just weren't built for the speed of the modern DevOps era. And finally, this is an important piece. Don't ever let a certificate lifecycle management vendor tell you that it has to be a standalone product. We call it the silo problem. We need to stop treating certificates like they are special. In modern cybersecurity, certificates, SSH keys, API tokens, passwords, all fall under the umbrella of secrets and machine identities. You will find the innovation insight on machine identity management from Gartner on our website. Check it out to see where CLM and PKI fall. Certificates share exactly the same lifecycle requirements: generation, storage, rotation, revocation. Building a tool that only does certificate lifecycle management creates a silo. Separating certificates from the rest of your secrets management strategy is inefficient. Certificates are just secrets, just like credentials and keys. They have the same life cycle as those. You shouldn't be forced to buy a standalone tool that only solves one slice of the problem. You need an unified way to manage all your machine identities. So in addition to these challenges that we just saw, we also have to prepare for the 47-day certificate era. For years, TLS certificates have steadily shortened in lifespan from 5 years to 825 days, then to 398 days. In the latest Certification Authority and Browser Forum, it has moved to 47 days, and this represents the most dramatic evolution yet. The industry is moving to this lifespan, and it will happen within the next few years. Think about what it actually means for your team. Right now, you renew your certificate, say, once a year. Soon you will be doing it 8 times a year. If you're struggling to manage certificates manually now, imagine trying to do it when the workload explodes to 800%. You physically cannot hire enough people or update enough spreadsheets that fast. So this isn't just a policy update, it's a forcing function. The era of tracking dates is over. If you aren't fully automated by this time, you aren't just inefficient, you're offline. Now let us see how Akeyless can help you with these. With Akeyless, we eliminate the manual grind by automatically issuing, renewing, and provisioning certificates directly to your endpoints. Whether you need a private CA with PKI as a service or seamless integration with public CAs, our platform unifies it in one view. You maintain total visibility through comprehensive logging, tracking, and notifications, ensuring you never miss an expiration. Crucially, all of this is backended by secure storage using our patented distributed fragment cryptography encryption, DFC. It's something worth looking up on our website, on how it technically works as well. This is designed not just to keep you secure, but keep your certificates within your control, and is also designed to be quantum resilient, guaranteeing your data remains secure today and against future threats. In addition to these, Akeyless delivers a broad support for all your certificate needs, covering everything from standard TLS and PKI to SSH, code signing, custom IoT use cases. We provide a built-in private certificate authority and integrate directly with public CAs to centralize your operations. But we go beyond simple issuance. We fully automate the entire lifecycle: rotation, renewal, actual endpoint provisioning, leveraging standard automation protocols like ACME, SCEP, EST. This ensures that you have total control. Our platform runs continuous discovery inventory across hybrid cloud and environments. It gives you granular analytics and full audit logs, while our proactive monitoring sends multi-channel notifications to alert you of any expirations long before they can cause an outage. And finally, we talked about this problem, the 47-day certificate era. Akeyless automates trust and compliance to run this challenge into a competitive advantage rather than a headache. We provide zero knowledge CLM and PKI as a service for secure, hands-free renewals where private keys are never exposed, thanks to the DFC technology that I talked about a few minutes back. This is truly unified platform, managing not just TLS certificates, but also SSH keys, API tokens, machine identities. And to satisfy auditors, we provide full audit and compliance capabilities with immutable logs that integrate seamlessly into your SIEM tools like Splunk and Datadog. Now, enough of me talking about the product and what it does. The big part of this episode is to see the product in action. I want to invite Mark Gersten, our solution architect from Akeyless, who will now show you the product and address some of the key capabilities that I just shared with you. Mark, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Suresh. Okay, let's take a look what we will see during this demo. What we're going to see during this demo is how the Akeyless CLM capabilities work inside of our platform, and how that works inside a modern identity security platform. So you will see how Akeyless can be a private CA, and also how we can integrate with public CA authorities. A major part of this demo will be around how the automation works for Certificate Lifecycle Management, especially considering the 47-day mandate. So we will see an example of how this works with a CST pipeline, such as GitHub Actions, how this can be done with infrastructure automation tools, such as Ansible. We will also automate a certificate issuance and rotate that certificate to a server that already has an expired certificate. And finally, we will also see an example of how we can use Akeyless as an ACME server to integrate with tools such as Certbot. Okay, so here is the Akeyless platform. You can see the different products that are inside of our platform. And for certificate issuance, we have an object called a PKI cert issuer. So a PKI cert issuer is sort of the interface that allows you to provision your certificates. So up here, I have an example of our cert issuer. So with the cert issuer, you have to choose whether this can be a private CA, in which case Akeyless will hold the private key, or we make an integration with a public CA authority. Of course, the sign key is a DFC key, which means that only you have access to that key. DFC keys can be of many different algorithms, giving you quantum agility in case you want to, in case new algorithms are being found that are quantum safe. Certificates can be used for different purposes. So certificates can be used for client certificates, can be used for server certificates, also client certificates. This PKI cert issuer is the object that we actually interact with, and we control. It also has an ACME server available to it as well. Okay. This cert issuer determines what type of domains are allowed. Also, it will store those certificates in a particular location. All stored certificates are, of course, encrypted with DFC technology. It controls whether we can auto-rotate those certificates, and also where we publish the certificate revocation list. So this is the interface that can be used to automate your whole process with. Let's take a look at how we can integrate with tools such as GitHub Actions for CI/CD. So Akeyless comes with many different integrations, and we have many plugins available. We have an Ansible plugin available, which of course can be used for PKI certificates. We also have a GitHub Actions plugin available, which can also be used for PKI certificates. And here's an example of how you can actually run that. So here's an example of one of those GitHub Actions. So what happens up here is you create a certificate signing request, and you then submit that certificate signing request using the Akeyless GitHub Actions plugin to this PKI cert issuer. You can then keep continuing inside of your pipeline to provision this certificate along with your application. So here you can start running your workflow. So running that workflow and then obtain a new certificate. So now there's a actions pipeline running. And we can see the result up here. We can see that we ran the different actions that were required. We generated a CSR. We fetched that PKI certificate from Akeyless, and we can then store that into a file, save that into the running workload, and then provision that certificate along with the application. Instead of CI/CD pipelines, we can also do this in infrastructure provisioning. So we can do this inside of Ansible playbooks, for example. So I have an Ansible environment ready. I do have an Ansible playbook available here. Let me show this Ansible playbook. So in this Ansible playbook, we do the same thing. We generate CSR. This comes from the Akeyless collection in Ansible. You can run it. You can install that with Ansible Galaxy. You generate a CSR, and once again, you can just get a PKI certificate from Akeyless. So when we run this, you can see the different steps that are being taken. And finally, we get this whole certificate that's being printed out and can then use that to provision to our infrastructure. Of course, other tools exist as well to automate this deployment. So Akeyless comes with a CLI to make all this possible. So every action you can do in the UI in Akeyless can also be automated using a REST API or CLI. Also multiple SDKs. So we also have the capability to generate a CSR in the platform with different options available. We can also then, once we have that CSR, obtain a PKI certificate where we just provide the PKI cert issuer and provide the required data to obtain this certificate. Okay, so let's go through an example of a certificate that's actually already expired and it already lives inside of Akeyless and go through a renewal flow. So we just saw how the issuance flow worked. Let's take a look into this renewal flow. Okay, so we navigate to a certificate that may have been expired. We have here a machine that's already expired. We can go to that machine, go into a browser, renew, and we see that the certificate date is invalid. So for that, we can go to our certificate, take a look at our lifecycle capabilities up here. We can see that there's a certificate renewal option. We can also perform revocations. We can download the certificate as well if you want to manually provision. So for a certificate renewal, you can choose whether you want to make use of an existing key in case the key already exists in Akeyless, or more common, generate a new CSR and key. Creating a new key is better and more safe in case your key may have leaked. So when we click on renew, that takes care of the whole renewal process. So what's happening here behind the scenes is that there's a provisioning tab available on this certificate. And the provisioning You specify where you want to place your certificates, where you want to specify your key, where you want to specify your chain path, and afterwards you can also provide a post-provision command. This is a command that's being performed after you place your certificates in their locations, and this can be used to automate actions such as restarting the Nginx web server, for example. All of this is of course orchestrated by the gateway, since the gateway has connectivity to your applications. So now that I have renewed that certificate, I should be able to refresh the page and see that my certificate is now renewed and is now a valid certificate issued by Akeyless. So what happens when a certificate expires? So we also have capabilities for that. So we have an event center inside of Akeyless where all events are taking place. So we can see when certificates are about to expire, when a certificate is being provisioned, and you can track all of those actions inside of Akeyless. Even from here, you can acknowledge those. You can take care of the certificate renewal right from this event, but you can also send those events to different applications. So you can set up event forwarders to ServiceNow, Slack, email, webhook, or Teams. So for an example, we can go into, there's already an event forwarder here in Slack. So we can go to Slack and see that we get new events every time that a new certificate has been provisioned. Akeyless Gateway also has capabilities with the ACME protocol. So the Akeyless Gateway can function as an ACME server, and we can also use Certbot or other tools to directly integrate with the ACME server of Akeyless. So up here, we run a couple commands to obtain information about our issuer. Since our issuer is already enabled as an ACME server, we obtain a couple parameters such as an ACME display ID, getting an EAB output, get a MAC number, and then we can use tools such as Certbot to provision our certificates. So Certbot is now running and takes care of the provisioning of that certificate, and that took care of issuing a certificate as well. So that can already be used by existing applications that rely on Certbot. Okay, so Akeyless can be used as a private CA, as we've seen with PKI Cert Issuer. We can also integrate with external CAs. So we have integrations with Global Sign Atlas, GoDaddy, Factigo, Finafi, and Zero SSL. So what's happening in these integrations is that you have to create this connection using something like an API key or a secret, and they provide parameters that are relevant for the certificate validation process. For private CAs, you can make use of different key types. So you can make use of a DFC key. Up here, you can choose whether you want to import a key or whether you want to have Akeyless generate the key. So you can make use of Akeyless as the root of trust, or you can import an existing CA, which in many cases will be something like an intermediate CA that's being imported and can then function as a certificate authority inside of Akeyless. Instantiating your root of trust inside of Akeyless is simple and easy. So all you have to do is start running a command called Akeyless generate CA, which spins up your whole PKI infrastructure, taking care of provisioning of the root certificate and an intermediate CA, and which can then be used to start issuing leaf certificates. So Suresh, this was the demo.
Oh, thank you, Mark. So what we saw today was using Akeyless as a private certificate authority, integrating with public certificate authorities, issuing certificates directly from CI/CD pipelines and infrastructure automation tools, automating public certificate issuance, and more importantly, rotating to prevent outages, especially with the 47-day issue that we talked about at the beginning of this presentation. Automatically provisioning a machine when a certificate is expired, we saw that one as well. And finally, using Akeyless as an ACME server with tools like Certbot. As I told you at the beginning of the presentation, this is a part of a web series, Identity Security Unleashed for the AI Era. We have exciting sessions coming up, including the one that you see on the screen with three of the greatest minds in the industry: Oded Haravan, CEO of Akeyless; Eric Fourier, CEO of GitGuardian; and Alet Choda, founder of Non-Human Identity Management Group. I will be hosting them, and we'll be discussing how to manage the entire life cycle of non-human identities. Please register for this event at the Akeyless.io website. As you go to the website, on the top, you will see the link to the registration page. Join us for more of these sessions, and please do also review or attend the sessions that we have already telecast. Please sign up for the upcoming sessions as well, and I'll see you there soon. Take care. Bye.